Human rights. What are human rights? Well, human rights are the values which keep society fair, just and equal. They protect children, the elderly, people in care, victims of domestic violence, people with mental health problems, religious groups, teachers, soldiers, and yes, prisoners. They protect all of us. They protect you. Our human rights are protected by law. That means we can do something if our rights are attacked. But not everyone loves human rights. Some want to water them down, even scrap them. Our rights are under threat, so it's time to get educated. Societies used to be controlled by all-powerful rulers who could be horribly unjust. Kings only gave rights to people they liked. Over thousands of years, people fought for equality, and with every hard-won right came new laws that improved how we lived. But in the 20th century, brutal dictators came to power. They ruled by fear, like the kings of the past. Those hard-won rights, they were dismantled on an unimaginable scale. After World War II, the democracies got together and said, never again. They created a simple document setting out the basic rights we all need to live a dignified life. The European Convention puts rights, not rulers, at the heart of our society. Like the right to life, to liberty, to free speech. Then, in 1998, Parliament passed the Human Rights Act, which made our human rights part of UK law. This means public bodies like hospitals and schools must respect our rights, and if they don't, we can go to our local court to enforce them. Now, because of human rights, patients in hospitals must be treated with compassion. Journalists cannot be forced to reveal their sources. Soldiers must be given proper equipment. Gay people have to be treated equally, and the police cannot keep our DNA forever if we're innocent. We have to be treated fairly, at work, at home, in school, anywhere, everywhere. Our human rights are hard-won. They're part of our British heritage. We are proud of them. If we lose them, vulnerable people will pay the biggest price. Know your rights. Celebrate them. Protect them. Share this video if you think human rights matter. Go on. Share it.
Good morning, Marcelo.
Good morning, Lorenzo.
Good morning, San Bernardo.
Today we are going to see how 3 related cases violated the human rights in 2017. But before this, let's see what the Dr. Beatriz has to say about the concept of human rights.
Human rights are all the rights related to ensure a life worth for all people. Human rights are guaranteed to the people for the simple fact of being human.
We start with a case of injured protesters in Brazil.
News about violence at manifestations are not rare. In 2016, the Ministers of Agriculture and Culture were burned, but that was not all. About 49 people were injured, including 8 military police officers and a man hit by a firearm.
Let's see what the police has to say about this.
The demonstrators protested against President Michel Temer, calling for his resignation from office. About 35,000 people attended the act.
Police officers that used guns at the manifestations has already been identified.
The next case is about rural workers dead in Pará. A slaughter that occurred in May of 2016 on a farm in called Santa Luzia, at the city of Pau d'Arco in Pará, killed 10 rural workers.
They were camped on the edge of the site and were shot dead during a joint operation by the civil and military police, who went to the region to accomplish the search and seizure warrants.
Let's see some versions about the case.
The settlers had an arsenal of arms and reacted to the presence of the police. There was an exchange of fire, and it resulted in many deaths. Relatives of the victims and survivors claimed that the occupation in the farm was peaceful, and the police arrived truculently and shot without provocation.
The officers involved assisted in the operation removed the bodies from skaters from scene before forensics were carried out.
As expected and possible, we are walking. Unfortunately, not at the pace that society would like, but with some optimism. I am confident that the process is moving towards for justice for these workers.
The hearings have already begun, and on December 18 of 2017, the Park Court of Justice granted freedom to 9 of the 17 civilian and military police officers personal charged with involvement in the crime.
Some months after the slaughter, one of the leaders of workers' community also was dead. The police strengthened the investigation team on the search for the criminals.
The next and the last case is about a transex that was beaten to the death in Fortaleza.
In February of 2016, Nandera dos Santos was beaten to the death in a broad daylight on the city of Fortaleza.
After the aggressions, they took the victim to another place. She was brutally, covertly, and murdered through a gunshot wound the head.
I was very desperate, crying asking God, what had happened? What was it that this boy did it? My God. I was like crazy, without knowing how to believe whether it's a fight or not.
It was a serious crime of lynching. There were several boys, one kicked and the other hit, another punched and another hit with a stick on her head. I called the police twice and I warned them that if they didn't come soon, the worst would happen.
Well, everyone adored her and she never denied someone a favor. And she suffered a lot of prejudice, but she was always helpful. She never said no, and she might be tired, and like when you asked her to go, she went, and she never said no.
According to investigations, at least 12 people participated in the crime, but only 2 men were arrested. The case was reported by several international newspapers. Thank you for watching us. See you next week at the same time. The last and the last was Fred's
Cala a boca! Pera, tipo,
eu tô gravando, tio. Você quer que eu cala a boca? Ai, vou morrer! Vai.
Camille no chão, Camille no chão. Taturana.
Olha, se eu conseguir esse ventilador, tá vendo que tá fazendo vídeo daqui.
Taturana. Nossa, voou. Taturana. Amiga morta e colorida.
Mano, o ventilador tá girando sozinho, velho.
Ai, acho que tem uma...
É o apocalipse. Good morning, Marcelo.
Good morning, Lorena.
Good morning, Sandra.
I teach you.
This glue is good.
Misericórdia.
So much.
Oh my god, I will bot.
Nossa, ai meu boss, tá certíssimo, hein?
Let's do a test.
Não, mas isso é meu gruda em mim.
É cola mesmo isso aqui?
Não, isso é muito pro nariz.
relatives and
I was like crazy. Without knowing. Peraí, eu não lembro mais.
Mano.
That this boy did. My God. I was very disappointed.
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 Como é a palavra?
Desperate.
I was very desperate.